In this haunted tale, follow the story of a night watchman who takes up a job at an old mansion that's rumored to be cursed. Strange occurrences begin to happen every night, and the watchman soon realizes that the mansion has a dark history that refuses to stay buried. As he delves deeper into the mansion's past, he uncovers the truth behind the curse and the evil force that continues to haunt the mansion. Will the night watchman survive his time at the cursed mansion, or will he become yet another victim of its dark secrets? Tune into Uneasy Tales to find out. The night watchman. Jack had always wanted a job that involved working nights. He loved the peace and quiet, the eerie stillness that settled over the city as the sun went down. So when he saw an ad for a night watchman at a local museum, he jumped at the chance. The museum was a sprawling old building with dozens of rooms and exhibits to patrol. Jack's job was to make sure everything was secure and in order, and to keep an eye out for any potential break-ins or disturbances. It was an easy enough job, and for the first few nights, Jack loved it. But then things started to get strange. It began with little things. A door that had been closed was suddenly open, or a piece of art that had been hanging straight was now crooked. Jack brushed it off as his imagination, or maybe just the building settling. But then he started hearing things. Footsteps echoing in empty hallways, the sound of something scratching against the walls. And then there were the shadows, shapes that moved just out of the corner of his eye, disappearing as soon as he turned to look at them. One night, as Jack was making his rounds, he heard a scream coming from one of the exhibits. He rushed over, heart pounding, and found one of the mannequins had fallen over. But as he was picking it up, he noticed something strange. The mannequin's eyes were following him. Jack was spooked, but he tried to convince himself that it was just his mind playing tricks on him. But the feeling of being watched never went away. He started to dread going to work, and his nerves were always on edge. One night, as he was walking through the dimly lit galleries, he heard a whisper in his ear. It was a voice he didn't recognize, and it sent chills down his spine. He spun around, but there was no one there. That's when he saw her, a woman dressed in a long white dress, standing at the end of the hallway. She had long black hair and a pale, ghostly face. Jack tried to run, but his legs felt like they were made of lead. He was frozen in place as she started to walk towards him, her eyes locked on his. As she drew closer, he could see that her eyes were completely black. She reached out a hand and touched his arm, and he felt a coldness spread through his body. He tried to scream, but his voice was caught in his throat. When he woke up, he was lying on the floor, his heart pounding in his chest. He stumbled to his feet and stumbled towards the door, desperate to get out of the museum. As he reached for the handle, he felt a cold hand on his shoulder. He turned around, expecting to see the ghostly woman, but there was no one there. Jack quit his job the next day, and he never went back to the museum again. But he could never shake the feeling of being watched, of being followed by the shadowy figures that lurked just out of sight. He learned that some things were better left alone, that there were some secrets that were better left undiscovered. The night watchman, Peter, had been working at the abandoned factory for nearly a year. It was a lonely job, but it paid well and he had bills to pay. He spent most of his nights patrolling the large, dimly lit halls, checking for any signs of trouble. One particularly dark and stormy night, Peter was making his rounds when he heard a strange noise coming from the far end of the building. It sounded like someone was dragging a heavy object across the floor. Peter cautiously made his way towards the noise, flashlight in hand. As he approached, he saw a figure moving in the shadows. It was difficult to make out any details, but Peter could tell it was humanoid in shape. He called out, asking who was there, but there was no response. Peter approached the figure, hoping to get a better look. Suddenly, it turned towards him, revealing a face that was twisted and contorted with rage. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and Peter could feel a wave of fear wash over him. The creature lunged at him, and Peter stumbled backwards, trying to defend himself with his flashlight. The creature was quick, and its movements were almost inhuman. It seemed to be toying with Peter, taunting him. Just when it seemed like all was lost, a bright light filled the room, and the creature let out a blood-curdling scream. Peter shielded his eyes, and when he opened them again, the creature was gone. He never spoke of that night again, but he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. From that day forward, he refused to work the night shift alone, and the factory was eventually shut down due to strange occurrences and unexplained phenomena. Some say that the creature still haunts the abandoned halls, waiting for its next victim. That's it guys, our story is finished. See you in the next video with the next story. Until then, take care, good night. Thanks for listening on Uneasy Tales.